Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real News Talk Show. I am your Real News host coming to you with a pretty sad story. Anyway, I hope all of you had a very happy new year. I didn't get to come on and say Happy New Year to you like I wanted to. I think I did a couple of Christmas specials. Oftentimes I do audios because a lot of times I'm not in a position to actually show my face because that takes a lot of preparation and my mind moves faster than my body sometimes. So when my mind moves fast, I just come on the air and do the audios. My topic is about the Nick Gordon situation, Bobbi Christina's ex-boyfriend, the play son of Whitney Houston. Now, isn't it really ironic that all three of them died in a similar situation allegedly? I mean, that tells you that it was just something it was a doomed situation. I could see if it happened to one person, fine, maybe two, fine, but three strikes, you're out. I'm coming to you with this story because it's a story of how I feel, even though it could have been allegedly happened the way that I may feel. My thought is from the very beginning when Whitney Houston was found in that bathtub in that hotel and Nick Gordon was on the scene then. I feel that there was some type of connection with that murder at that time. I really feel that Whitney Houston was taken advantage of because she had become a crackhead. And so everything around her was just to take advantage of her. Because when a person's out of their mind, other people that are surrounding them, and especially a man, whether it's Nick Gordon or any other man, tends to want to take advantage when it comes to a woman. Because oftentimes women get on drugs and they stay on drugs, and these men, they get off of drugs and they move on about their business like Bobby Brown did. And I'm really happy that he did. And the reason I'm happy that Bobby Brown got out of that situation because I really like Bobby Brown. He's a very nice guy in his own way. He's a father. I've always admired a man that loves his kids, and Bobby Brown has shown me that. He's very intelligent, very bright, and most of all, very talented as well as Whitney Houston was. Back then, everyone was saying that Bobby Brown, he was the reason that Whitney Houston started doing drugs. That was a lie. I fought Whitney Houston's brother for turning his own blood sister onto drugs and turning her out into the drug world. He's actually the reason she's dead today because of the fact he started her out on something and she became a crackhead, and it stemmed from her brother giving her drugs. And another thing, back then, when that was happening, oftentimes people get on drugs and they get in those environments. Nobody knows if he molested her or sexually assaulted her during those drug sessions with each other, because I just couldn't imagine doing drugs with my own brother. Drugs take people out of their minds, and a lot of people screw their own blood. Incest, they do incest, they do friends, they do. And then when they wake up from the ordeal or the drugs have worn off, then they wonder, what in the hell did I do? I wonder if anything happened like that, which could have troubled Whitney Houston all along the way. I mean, because her mind was just never the same, and people began to take advantage of her, and I fought her brother for that. I fought Whitney Houston for Bobbi Christina's situation. In the beginning, I was faulting Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown, but I'm happy that Bobby Brown was strong enough to get out of the situation and get himself together off of the drugs and to get out of the demonic environment that he was in. He has moved on with his life and has bettered his life, and he is still alive today. Normally, association brings about simulation, and if he probably would have stayed in that situation with Whitney Houston and all of those people around her, Pat, her sister-in-law, and all of the people that was in that demonic circle, he probably too would have been discarded from this earth. So I'm so thankful that Bobby Brown was intelligent enough to be strong enough to move on with his life and to get out of that situation. I know it probably hurted, and it hurted everyone when they broke up because they had a child, but it was for the better because he's still here and all of them are gone. Now, I thought Whitney Houston, I loved Whitney Houston's voice. I really did. Whitney Houston was, the girl could sing, 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 sing. I really did love her. So I'm not talking about Whitney Houston. I'm just talking about the situation that surrounded Whitney Houston, Bobbi Christina, Nick Gordon, and Bobby Brown, and Whitney's brother turning her out. Whitney Houston, I fought her because my mother would not allow anyone that she called her son or would take into her house as a son and raise her with any of us, and to allow us to degrade that situation into a relationship. That just wouldn't happen. My mother would disown me and the rest of us because of the fact of the morals and the dignity and the pride that they put and instilled in us. And so when you look at it now, all of this stuff really wasn't supposed to be. Because look, they all three are dead and they all lived in the same house, and it all happened in a similar situation, allegedly. I'm not saying it did, but he was in a hotel. Whitney was in a hotel. They said that it was overdose with him. It was overdose with Bobbi Christina. It was overdose with Whitney, allegedly. I'm just telling you what I've been reading, and I'm just telling you from keeping up with the situation from the drug scene, from Whitney's brother all the way down. Not just me know it, but the world know it. You know it. You've seen it. You heard it. And now all three are gone. As I said, it wouldn't have been so strange if it would have been one person and possibly two. And it wouldn't have been so strange if it wouldn't have been in those situations alike. People die every day. We're all going to go one day. But they all happen to die the same way, which tends to make me feel like it was a demonetic spirit. But drugs is nothing but a demon anyway. It takes many celebrities out. You hear it every day in Hollywood. Drugs will take you out. And it did, and I thank God that Bobby Brown got out just in time, or he too would have been gone. I was looking at a YouTube video and I heard a YouTuber say that, Bobby said that he was going to pay for that. And he paid. Or perhaps he wanted to be with them. Because a lot of times devils, it all happens at the same time. When it happens in threes. That was a demonetic vibe. Like I said, for Whitney Houston to bring that young man into her home and allow her daughter to screw him and lay up with him in her house, possibly drugs was going on then at that time amongst all of them. That baby, Bobbi Christina, did not stand a chance. She was always a baby. She never grew up. And when Whitney died, Nick Gordon took advantage of her. And I do feel that, allegedly, that he had something to do with those murders because of the fact that Bobbi Christina was weak, like a little kid that never grew up. She even talked like a kid. She was goofy. She was witty. She just didn't know anything about life. And that boy, Nick Gordon, took control of that child. I call her baby even though she was grown because she never had a chance. She was surrounded by all of this stuff ever since she was born. And all of that stemmed from Whitney Houston's brother. He turned her on to drugs. So I'm looking at the root of the deal, what caused the deal, what caused her. When everyone was saying that it was Bobby Brown, in fact, Whitney was on drugs prior to even getting with Bobby Brown. So all of them was in the drug scene together. And Bobby Brown, God saw his heart because he is a lovable person. I really, really like me some Bobby Brown, and he could sing. The boy got talent, and he still have it. Even when he put that little weight on, he has a little swagger, you know what I'm saying? And not because he's Aquarius like me, but oftentimes Aquarius people are pretty deep, and they have a third sense somehow. Third sense of feeling things and knowing things. Everyone has that gift, but a lot of people don't use it or they don't pick up on these things. Because see, if that baby Bobby Christina would have had that depth and that input in her, there's no way Nick Gordon would have been taking control of her like he did in those last days. And I do feel still to this day that he had something to do with it, with both of those murders. And that Pat, I feel that she was snooping around for some reason too, because she was straight. She wasn't on drugs. So I feel that she had more power over Whitney to control everything around her. And I just, in the situation, even when you would see this stuff on TV, and it was just an eerie feeling about all of them, really. And that Pat, she was very sly and smooth. So smooth on the interviews that anyone would think she was an angel. But, out here there are a lot of sheep's and wolves clothing, and they act so smooth and innocent. And, oh, I was there, and I this and that. I took care of Bobbi Christina. I don't buy it. And I've had conversations with people, and I told them I wouldn't have wanted Whitney Houston's dirty money, because the money didn't cause any of them any good, even Nick Gordon. It didn't cause Bobbi Christina. It didn't cause Whitney any good. It didn't cause Bobbi Christina any good. It didn't cause Bobby Brown any good. He had to move along and make his own money. And it didn't cause Nick Gordon any good. And it will not cause Pat or anyone that touches that money, if there was any left of Whitney Houston, because it's a demonic spirit all surrounding that money. For the love of money is the rule of all evil. It took 3 of them out in the same way. I'd be scared to touch it. I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want it because I just wouldn't want that karma on me. That vibe, it's dirty money. Dirty money because it was given. The girl was blessed with a talent. It was given, and because all the demons and devils got up on her, and they taunted that money. I wouldn't want it if I was Pat or anybody else, because you see what happened? 3 people, uno, dos, tres. Oh my God, you guys. I'm not trying to make up anything. I'm just going by what it is. I mean, we see it on TV. 3 of them died. 2 of them died in bathtubs. 1 of them died. 2 of them died in bathtubs, and 2 of them died in hotels. Okay? Whitney and Nick Gordon died in hotels. Okay? Bobbi Christina and Whitney died in the tub. That is nothing but the devil that had all of them in a bond together. So Bobby Brown, you ought to be happy you got out of that. God just saved you because you have a good heart and you're a nice person, you're a good father. And I know it hurted you when Bobbi Christina died. And I know you knew Nick Gordon, everybody knew it. Bobby Brown's sister knew it. When people snooping around just for money because that little girl her mind wasn't right. She was born into that stuff. She wasn't right. So that Pat was like she was taking care of Bobbi Christina. No. All of that stuff was for the money. And I'm wondering if Pat and her husband was in, I think her husband was the one, I'm not sure, that turned her on to the drugs. But it was all just a mad mess. And possibly if Whitney Houston was getting high with her brother, you never know, it was incest going on, and possibly whoever know it can be upset about that. And Whitney probably couldn't have never gotten over that. You see what I'm saying? People just don't know what goes on behind closed doors when there are drugs involved. And I talked to many people that have been on drugs before, and they told me this stuff really goes on behind closed doors. When people get high together, it's a whole different vibe. And it could be a brother and a sister, it could be cousins, it could be 2 men, 2 women, it could be all kinds of nonsense going on in those type of environments. And so what it causes is death. It causes death. So it was a demonic spirit put on those people. And I thank God Bobby Brown is still around. I really thank God Bobby Brown is still around. And he moved on around. He moved on. When people were saying it was him, it was him, it was him, it was him. Well, it shows you in the end, when people do wrong or they get all high and mighty, God will show you who's who, what's what. And Nick Garden, he really hurt Bobbi Christina in more ways than one. He was abusing her. But you know what, you guys? My condolences go out to Nick Garden's family, his brother, mother, and all of the people that love him, his friends. And my heart goes out to those people because he's still somebody's child. I'm just telling you what happened around it because money, and for Whitney Houston, because see what happens if a man sees someone's mother don't care about them, then they're not gonna give a damn either. So he just took full control at that time. And not only Nick Gordon would take control of a situation like that when there's a lot of money involved, many people do. And we all know that. So you guys, I just wanted to come and talk a little bit about that. That Nick Gordon was found dead in the same situation, similar to Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown. And they were all living in the same house. And they all did the same thing. And they all died the same way. So what does that tell you? That was a demonic spirit. It was a demon. It was a curse put on that money that Whitney Houston made. It was a curse put on that money that Whitney Houston made. I mean, she was a top star, and it just took all of them out. It took all the people out that wanted her money as well. And anybody that still wanted, they can have it, because I wouldn't want a dime. I wouldn't care what. And for those people that say, oh, I wish I would have had her money. I wish I would have had Whitney Houston money. Or I wish I would have had this star money, that star money. But the love of money is the rule of all evil. If you have your breath when you wake up in the morning, you are good. Because God is going to supply you with everything that you need. And you don't have to go through all of that. You don't have to go through death to find out. Because of the fact that you are living right. But anytime you let the devil get up on you, and you all these drugs and this and that, and especially for Whitney, to let that man come in that house, at least Bobbi Christina possibly could have been living if she would have raised her right and told that boy, oh no, you're not going to mess with my daughter. You guys are too much like brother and sister. That's not going to happen in my house. She didn't do that. Because they had Bobbi Christina spoiled. She had never taught her right from wrong. I feel that if they would have put their foot down, that boy would have never even looked at her in that way. But someone said that she probably put herself on him. But still, he should have said, look, I'm your brother. Your mother took me in and raised me like her son. I would not feel right being with you. And it's no way my mother would have went for it. I'm just going to be flat out and honest with you. I feel that messed that baby's life up. And I feel that when her brother gave her those drugs, he messed her life up. It was just a snowball effect. You see what I'm saying? So you guys, I really hate to relive that situation of Whitney Houston's death, Bobbi Christina's death. And you know which one really hurted me the most was Bobbi Christina, because she was still giggling like a little girl, and she didn't know no better. She was just like a 2-year-old child. And they put all that mess up on that child, you know? She got caught up in the rapture. And so by her being caught up in that rapture, they all went together. Demons will come up on you. And like I said, association brings about stimulation. That stuff rubs off on you, whether you know it or not. Stuff can rub off on you. You can be around someone, and after a while, you'll start looking like them. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way it is. It's something in the universe, something that's uncontrollable. I mean, you can have couples that have been together for a long, long time, like 50 years, and you look at them, you see one, you see the other. So when you're around that type of environment, whether it's good or bad, you're going to be like it. And I'm going to end my show with that. Please click like, share, and subscribe so that I can come back with more, because this is real news talk. This is how I feel about it. It's all allegedly, but it's all out in the news media for you, me, and the world to see just what I just told you. And that's it. I gotta go. Bye. Happy New Year.